What is wrong with my Marsh White grapefruit? Let's focus just on that on today's video. These guys have been growing for years and looking so good, producing tons and tons of fruit. Look like mini bowling balls almost. But the fruit is bland. Such lush green leaves, pretty much year round. Look at there. I mean, they hang, so dense and such a dense cluster like a grape almost in some cases here. Look at that. Why isn't it a good grape? This is a grafted tree, not a seedling. So I don't have the answer, but let's just take a look at like where it's growing. So it's not fully shaded. There's light all the time in the daylight. But there's it's under a pine tree. And it probably gets sun from, there's pine trees there, so the sun's fixing to go down. It's like 2:30 p.m. in the wintertime here. And I'm sure it gets full sun in a few hours a day. It probably doesn't get any morning sun. Is it a lack of sunlight here? Because when you look up grapefruit, they say they won't produce or really even like grow very well in shade. They need full sun, so that seems to be a lie. But could that be a factor in why this grapefruit is just not tasting very good? Check out this. My hand is big. If you've looked at my guitar videos and all, and like my hands on a guitar neck and stuff, my hands are large. But look at that. Pulled this great big grapefruit here. Now I have another one that's already open from someone else's tree. And peel is completely different. But there aren't a lot of commercially available white grapefruits, right? There's Marsh White and Duncan. And Duncan usually has like up to like 60 seeds, so very heavily seeded. So this is, what, like I think Thompson Pink and everything kind of came from this one, like a bud sport. Is it possible that they grafted this guy on a bud that had something new, genetically new in it? A bud sport. Didn't know, just thought it was a normal Marsh White, and it's some kind of mutation. Other citrus in the same soil do very well. They taste good, taste great, including the seedling red grapefruit from Texas that I have that is super sweet and super flavorful, including that citramella over there that is awesome, including a Meyer lemon, including a blood orange, Sambokins. I had many Olatangelos here, and the red navel. They're all good. Acidic soil, over the last year or two, I've really fertilized them well. Did not change the flavor. It's not super acidic. Nothing wrong with the sweetness. But some of the ones I remember eating as a kid were pretty acidic. They had so much more flavor though. And this just is bland. The other white grapefruit that I had yesterday, super hard to peel, sweet, acidic, flavorful. peel was like probably way less thick than this. So what is going on? And this isn't, you can't say citrus greening because this tree is probably 15 years old. It's been producing for a long time, maybe older than that, and it's never got good grapefruit. So I got 5 seeds of a better white grapefruit, and these guys should be true to seed for the most part. I'm not sure if they're polymorphic or whatever you call them, where they can have 1, 2, or embryos, but usually the strongest one is the clone. So we're going to plant 5 of these in a little pot here that something else didn't come in, didn't sprout or survive. So what is a quintessential grapefruit, a white one? I would say it's one that tastes like a grapefruit. It has, it's for grapefruit lovers. I've had some that were too bitter and too acidic before. This isn't like that. It's sweet, but it's also got all of that grapefruit flavor, that you probably grew up eating in the 70s and 80s, and maybe before all the pink grapefruits took over everything. So we're just gonna put them in there, inch or 2 down, maybe cover them, pinch it in a little bit, and then cover them with some more soil. Some good, really plump looking seeds. So yeah, just pinch them in there, take some more soil here, a little bit more, pat it down, and then we need to mark it on the edge there what it is. And I just marked GF for grapefruit white. I used to in the olden days just say red sweet, whatever. My marker stopped working. I was just going to put a Q after that for quintessential, but that's fine. We'll remember what it is. Maybe not by the time we get it planted out and wait 15 or 16 years, but we'll remember what it is while it's in the container at least. So this is my grapefruit, my white Marsh White supposedly. And we're gonna just check out the peel and all. What's wrong with it? Okay. Let's just peel this guy. I mean, look at that thick, peel. And it is a little bit easier to peel than some of the other like white grapefruit. Look how thick that is. So what is wrong with it? What is wrong with it? And no, it's not a citronella. I got a citronella already. Kids are supposed to be sleeping for the last 2 hours. Instead, they're playing and screaming, and the baby done learned how to pretend like his brothers are attacking him or something. Their brothers used to do this like a year and a half ago, and just to get me or mama in the room and get attention. So we peeped in there a few minutes ago, and the baby is just pretending to be bothered by the other kids, beating him up or something. So this is peeling pretty much like a pomelo, but I don't know. Let's just cut it open and look at it. It looks so good, doesn't it? Really juicy, big. I wish the red seedling that I have would be this big, but sometimes they're a little bit too small to get any flesh out of. Some of them are an okay size, but I would prefer them to be this big. So check out like all this edible flesh. It looks like a shrimp, like a big old shrimp or something, doesn't it? I'm sure you guys didn't tune in to listen to the kids scream at the TV. And they're not supposed to be watching TV, they're supposed to be sleeping. Let me just taste this. It tastes like it's watered down. It's a grapefruit that's like been watered down. And that's how they all are. Maybe you get a decent one when it's like the peel is still green. Maybe in before December, when you would think they're nowhere near ripe. But they're just so watered down that they're not a quintessential grapefruit. So what's wrong with it? The pine trees, lack of sun may thicken the peel, and I don't know. Why would it taste watered down? Is it because it's in a low area and the tree is sucking up too much water from the rain? This should be a good experience. This should be a good thing. But it is nothing like the white grapefruit that I'm used to eating, as a kid, or even trees that other people are growing. It's not worth, it's not worth messing with. It's just, and you can see here from the skin, there's no like sun scald or anything on it. I wish I knew. Wonder if that is the problem. Just not enough sun, too low in the ground, getting too much water. Should we have all that sun scald and scarring on it instead of almost a perfect, shiny skin?